everyone! Welcome to the Design a Charmwork character stream. Whoop. It has been quite a while since I last did a stream in general, and particularly since I did a stream by myself. But we're gonna see how this goes. This is a bit of an involved project compared to a lot of other stuff I have streamed before. So I'm going to very quickly go over the baseline of what exactly we're doing today. First of all, hello everyone. This video is going to be about Charmwork. Charmwork is the fantasy xenofiction story that I have in production now. This is a very sloppy render of it. But it's the icon I've been using for now, just of the main characters. But today we're not going to be looking at these characters, we're going to be drawing a new character. And this is a process that did not start today. So I'm first going to move you over here, because here we are. This is a process that started 4 months ago, where basically over the course of a week, I asked you all some questions about various aspects of a potential character. Basically what type of charm work they would have, ages, overall appearance, skills or hobbies, character traits, backstory, and then any basically goals that they could have. When I had all of those options, and then adding in a few of my own plus a couple of things I did not need requests for, I opened up a poll where we voted on what aspects this character would have. Despite the numerous gender fluid, bigender, various votes that were counted in, I counted those all with Quinn agender just to make sure that they didn't get ruled out. But Molly did still just barely pop out on top, so we're going to have a Molly character. They're going to be a young adult, 1 to 2 years old. I'll be honest, this is the one that I might be fudging the most today, based on the absolute barest character concept I have. Charmwork, we're very, very close between illusion and luck, but we are going to be going with illusion. They have a tall and lanky build, but long and fluffy fur. They will be a dilute calico, which was not remotely a close race. One of their eye colors will be turquoise. Why did I say purple? Turquoise. But the second is one that I'm going to leave up to us when we have finished the base colors, because the special feature that they have, again, just barely, is heterochromia. So we're going to have 2 different eye colors. They are a traveler. They have this one, because it was a talent or skill and would fit with the traveler angle. I ended up just going with the top 2 options. So they both watch and talk to other animals and are a good explorer. They're good at directions and orienting themselves. They are intelligent and logical. Those were the top 2 options, and they go very well together, so I went with both of them. They're almost tied weaknesses as character flaws is that they are suspicious of others and reckless. I did have a couple questions as to how someone could be intelligent and reckless. I never said they were wise. They're a young adult. They're probably not wise, but they are intelligent. Those are different things. So we're going to be intelligent but reckless. Early life. Again, these went together really nicely, especially with the traveler thing, so because they were so closely tied, I put both of them on. So they met a lot of travelers passing through various areas, and they were also raised by a different species. And then character's main goal was to find a goal or have meaning. You can also go with second choice, find someone who accepts them. That is also fine. But with all of that together, let's move back into drawings. I put together this thing. This is our character sheet. There is some information that is still not filled in on it. We don't know what the name is. We don't know what the second eye color is. Any other strengths or flaws, or what their life was like, or most importantly, what their actual role is going to be in the story. We have no clue yet. That's what we're going to be deciding here today. But it is an outline based on this character sheet alone. One of the people in my Discord actually ended up drawing her, nameless, but it was drawn by Sleepy Star. So this is a version of what we could come up with, and we're going to be designing our own. I'll let you know ahead of time. I am very, very bad when it comes to idea generation. It's apparently a weird thing for a creative, but I am significantly more skilled in the follow-through, in the making sure that an idea works out and fits in with other pieces, than I am with creating the idea in the first place. So this is part of why this project has taken 4 months, but it also means that I have spent a fair bit of time in the back of my mind thinking out possibilities for who this character would be, so that I'm not going completely blind into this. And it also means, so I kind of already sketched it. Because I am not skilled in sketching on the fly or quickly. It takes me a long time to go through various ideas and get what I want. So we're starting off with this. There is Lotta on here as a height guide. I also have this other cat. Don't worry about who that is or why they're here. Don't you worry about it. All you need to know is that no. 4 months has just been for this particular project. 4 months was when we started the character trait community posts. I have been technically working on this story since February of last year. I've lost count at this point. But most of that was in the idea generation and plotting stages. I've been working on the first book for a few months now. Yeah. So, this is going to be our cat. I essentially just put in her, since we know it's a her, height and build. So she is tall and lanky, but also fluffy. I ended up putting that mostly in the mane and tail and some long fur out the back so that we could keep her build looking somewhat lanky. Those were a couple weird things to put together. And I made her on the shorter side despite being tall, because I've decided that she is I'm making the decision that she's actually like 11 to 12 months rather than 1 to 2 years, so that it fits in with a certain other age group of cats in this story that you have not heard about. If you're hearing some tinkling, Bagheera just woke up. She has been sleeping beside me, but I think my streaming has woken her up. Hey, sweetie. Okay, but this is what we're starting with, and we're going to be making some of it up as we go. I am essentially just starting with the front view and side view, and we'll do the other two later based on these, along with the expressions along the top. But that is not the right pen. Let's try this. So, thoughts about this cat. I think the species she was raised by is going to be the first thing that I will need help on, because I have not decided that yet. I have some ideas. There are several dogs in the area, some dog packs that she could be raised by. There are some foxes. I don't know if she would necessarily be raised by, like, coyotes or deer or rabbits, just for predator-prey reasons. But dogs are the least predator of the options in the surrounding area. But if there are any other thoughts that any of you have as to what species our little kitty here should be raised by, I'd be happy to know. Coyotes, wolves, foxes, Bears. Okay. Bears would be fun, except that in this particular region, it is pretty rare to see bears. They do exist. They do come around sometimes, but it is much more rare than some other animals. Maybe foxes, maybe owls. Ooh, owls would be cool. Foxes. Sounds like we're being raised by foxes. I'm gonna have to look into... I mean, it's fantasy xenofiction, so there's a certain amount to which I can just say, to heck it with the rules, I'm doing whatever I want. But I might want to look into... So how well do cats and foxes, like, get along at all? Horses. Horses would be interesting. Raised by horses. So that would make her a farm cat to start, I guess. A bit out there, but squirrels. Well, you know I'd love that, because squirrels, my darlings. It would certainly make her hunting a little odd, though. Hey, Bagiri, if you're gonna shake, could you maybe not shake directly beside the microphone? A black smoke cat. I do not actually know this title. Let me look up a black smoke cat. Black smoke cat. That is a nice design, but it wouldn't fit in with our dilute calico requirements for this particular character sheet. The dilute calico. Swans like the ugly duckling. Oh, that would be so cool. I was actually, when I was a kid, I was in a musical that was essentially the ugly duckling. It had the name Honk instead. And I like that much better than I like the original story of the ugly duckling, because it has songs. And I got to play a pretentious, rule-abiding motherly figure, which was all I ever really wanted in life. I mean, I played a couple of characters. I was in one of the lower grades, so we had to go with some smaller parts to start. But yeah, Honk. If you do happen to know Honk, if your school ever put it on or anything of the sort, Bagiri, sweetie, you were sleeping so nicely just before the stream. If you happen to know Honk, I played both Dot and Maureen that year. And I think I was typecast, and I don't mind it. Alright. Let's see. Some foxes and cats can get along, especially if they were raised together. That would be interesting. Because she was a traveler as well, because we know she's going to be spending a lot of her life up until she meets our main cast. I cannot get this ear right. Spending a lot of her life traveling around to completely different regions, learning about them. It's possible she could be raised by multiple species, like hanging out with different animals that aren't cats. If she's suspicious of others, I almost want to say like she had a bad experience with cats. And like she started off being raised by another species. She had a bad experience with cats, and then she essentially only really trusted other animals. I just don't want to make this into a vegetarian cat, because I don't know if that would work logistically for a wild cat. They don't really have... If they're a traveler rather than like a house cat or member of the city folk, they're not going to have access to human-made cat food. So they are going to need to get their protein, and it probably does have to come from animals. Yes, do multiple. Okay. So in that case, let me do a thing. If we're gonna do multiple, if she was like raised by a few different animals back to back, I'm gonna do Oh, it's been so long since the stream. I don't even remember how to do this anymore. There we go. Which animal was she raised by first? Yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to go with, is she was raised by bigger animals and eats prey animals as normal. Hey, sweetie. Don't you dare nuzzle the microphone. You're going to damage everyone's ears. Okay, so fox, dog, wolf, coyote, I think, were the four. Oh, can you please give me the poll? Yeah. All right. Which animal did they start being raised by? Fox is taking a nice early lead. I think we're going with fox. Okay. So she started out with foxes. She probably has been around most of them. They're relatively similar species. I am thinking, for the sake of story reasons, I should say at this point, I think it's gonna turn out differently depending on how this stream goes, but there's a strong possibility that this character will actually be in the final story, because there is a character slot that basically a role that I've known had to be filled for a while, and I hadn't designed the character that would fill that role. So this might be that character, which is why I'm being just a little bit more cryptic about it than I should for a character I'm currently designing. But basically, I think that being raised by foxes to start, great idea. I think when we meet her in the story, she is probably going to be either... Well, I think she has to have met or spent time with a dog pack at some point, basically. Because I think it would be advantageous to have someone around who can talk to Manny, Manitoba, my little pupper. Hold on. This one. My darling, my little girl. My big girl. My big little girl. Having someone around who could talk to her and like understand anything that she wants. Not necessarily understand her words, because it's still different species, but could connect with her in the way that Lotta does, I think would be narratively useful. So, okay, she was raised by foxes. She has also spent time with a lot of different animals, including a pack of dogs. We have the name Wendy. We'll get to that. I'm doing name much later. Names in the universe of Charmwork mean a lot. Oh my gosh. Oh, hello. Hello, Murder Prefer. Can't stay and watch, but here you go. Hope you all have fun designing the character. Thank you, Sunnyfall, for being you. Oh, you are so sweet. Hold on. Thank you. I need to do this in a different color. And also a bigger brush. There we go. Thank you so much. That is extremely sweet of you. I hope you have a good time at work. Foxes and dogs are both canines, which use some similar forms of communication. Also, fox is sometimes called the cats of the canines. Yeah, that would be... I think that would be a very good through line if she was raised by foxes and therefore has an easier time connecting to dogs and cats as the sort of median between them. She also, however, is a traveler and met a lot of cats along the way. That is another part of her sordid history, apparently. So I have to assume that she's been sort of going up and down either across the state or through a couple of states. She's still relatively young, so the amount of travel is probably not excessive, but at least to a few different towns, a few different communities. Yeah, Murder Prefer is always a sweetheart. um, Basically, I think something needs to have happened between her and a cat, or maybe they were coming to attack her fox pack, or they were constantly scared of her or bullied her or whatever we'd like to say because she was raised by foxes. Like we need to come up with a bad experience here between her and cats for her to be so suspicious of them and to have difficulties connecting with them personally. Lilac and cream calico. We will see when we hit the colors. I have not decided that much yet. I'm going to be putting in probably the eye. Well, no, I won't. I take that back. Because you can do shades of turquoise based on what'll complement the fur, and I care more about the fur. Oh yeah, no, feel free to drop in and go and come back whenever you need. Not an issue. Goodbye. Basically we need a the dark traumatic backstory for this cat. What has caused her to hate cats so much? Or not even to hate them, but to distrust them. Up until she meets our main cast. All those cats in the cast. Oh, okay. Tyler Briggs has an idea. Okay, so they killed her fox parents, like they were scared of the fox parents, killed them because they felt threatened. I think that would be brilliant. I also think it would work really, really well into the rest of her backstory. If there were cats who came and killed her fox parents because they felt threatened, then it would mean she is now left on her own as a young person and is still expected to travel around by herself. It would give her reason to come and meet various other species like dogs, and it would give her reason to just... Yeah, I love that. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. How good is her grasp on the cat language? That could also definitely be an issue. I think... Because we also know that she's met a lot of cats. Like, it's the duality between these that I'm struggling with. So, oh yeah, no, feel free to use my form, delete any options that you like, use it for your own purposes, fill it in with whatever. I can actually get out the blank version of it for you to screenshot. Give me just a second. Let's see. This is the... Whoop! Okay, I'm gonna need to do that separately. Boop. Boop. Boop, boop. But then this. Okay. No, that's still not right. Let me try this again. Okay. What I'm gonna do instead is just this. And last one. There you go. So, last little bit. You are free to screenshot that. I will enlarge it for your viewing pleasure. Just to leave it up there for a bit. Feel free to use this. Make any characters you please. It does not have to be this one. I was just using it for this character so that I would have something based on your preferences and something to coincidentally fit this role in the story that I need. So definitely screenshot that. If you're having difficulty, pause and go back. I'm going to return to the drawing. She could have lent aid as a translator and guide to travelers going through fox or wolf territory in exchange for something. She would likely be able to recognize markings. Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. Basically the way I've been doing it is no matter how close a cat is to a dog, like Lotta is extremely close to Manny, the dog who lives in the house with her. But she cannot speak dogs. She doesn't understand most of what Manny says. There is a point at the story when she's going to start recognizing when Manny says the name Lotta. But that is essentially it. It would just be a word or two. And she wouldn't be able to produce that language herself. It would just be recognizing it in her. But behavior, mood, what they do when they're happy or sad, what their routines are, all of that is stuff that essentially anyone can learn if they are given enough time. So the free roaming cats killed her parents, or the organized magic tree cats that you've set up. Sorry, I forgot the organization name. Do you mean the Woodland Guard? That's the group that introduced you to the concept of Charmwork in my video. Commander Orchid of the Woodland Guard let you know all about Charmwork with absolutely no bias or falsehoods. I don't think it would be the Woodland Guard who killed her parents, because they're a local group to the place where this story takes place, to this town, this state. And if she has been traveling for a while, even at this young age, it's more likely that it was either a group or just a family that was living outside of this region and didn't necessarily fall into the same groups that we have in this region. Ah, yes, hello! Faded Leaf Star. What if the commander killed her parents? The commander, I have been working very hard to say nothing about Commander Orchid. Commander would probably not have been able to kill her parents. They are too far away. But that's not to say Commander hasn't killed foxes before, because the Woodland Guard is, as their name implies, they're very concerned with safety, and making sure that their land is free of predators, to keep their guards safe, to keep their cats safe and taken care of. You were going to figure out Spring's Charmwork and announce it to everyone. Yeah, sure. Have fun with that. Spring's Charmwork is a bit of a special case, both because in universe it's a special case for character reasons, but also because I myself... okay, bit of background on this. Spring is actually the character that of the main cast that took me the longest to get. They're the main 6 that I've shown you so far. There's also another 3 that I actually finished drawing. I will be introducing them to you probably in the latter half of June. And those 3 are arguably part of the main cast. They're... At the very least, they're the most prominent support characters. And with those 9, Spring was definitely the last I managed to figure out. Spring went through the most significant revisions to her personality and journey through the story and relationships with the other characters, as I was trying to figure out essentially what role she needed to fill for the story, and particularly for Lada. And when I eventually did fall on something, I fell on the, I think, 4th version of what her charm work is. So it is technically possible that in the hints I've given across my videos or across Discord, I have given you a false impression because Spring's charm work at the time was different. But I have landed on something very specific now. I know what it is. But I have given no clues as to that one. Is it possible there's groups that believe if they're the only one using a tree that makes them stronger or more important? That's entirely possible. It is... there. Okay. So, in the region that we are in, for this part of the story, and at the time period that we are in, it is extremely rare to find, like, formalized groups of cats. There are family groups among the wild dwellers in particular. They're essentially always in family groups. Either like husband, wife, their kittens, or like in folding in grandparents, aunts, uncles, that sort of thing. Sometimes the kids will move away once they get a married partner. Sometimes they won't. The city folk tend to stay either all on their own or with a single sibling or partner, usually not with their parents. The house cats are a bit of a different case there, because they are essentially picked out by humans, and they work like cats do in our world. Where you could get 2 cats who are siblings, like I had Bagheera and Baloo, and you could raise them together as siblings, but you could also have a mother and keep one of her kittens and give the others away, or you could have kittens who have no ties to anyone else in the household, but they're raised alone, or just raised along with the human children, or raised with birds, or raised with dogs. It's a very common practice to not necessarily care as much about who your genetic family is when you're a house cat. But for the wild dwellers, which is the only ones who like consistently form groups of more than 2 cats, it's very specifically their families that they generally form into. The Woodland Guard is an exception there. Commander Orchid is in charge of a group that does not consist of just her family. But it's otherwise very rare. So, in this particular region, because the Woodland Guard is not a society who believes that the only cat in charge of a tree makes it the most important in charge of that tree, they would not believe that particular thing about charm work, and as a result there would be no groups in the region who would believe it. However, outside of this region, absolutely, legends of charm work are all over the place, and there are definitely some groups out there in the country or in the world who would believe that about charm work. Larch home tree for spring, which is light charm work. No. I can confirm that one right now, because larch tree was one of the options that I considered for spring in a past iteration of the story, but it is not what she is now, and it is not what she has been for a while. That is a strong guess, because once upon a time that was true. It is not anymore. What is that thing over my head? Do you mean the pictures cycling, I just have a slideshow of various images I've drawn for Charmwork. So it would be in there the profile headshots of the 6 cats in the main cast that I've drawn so far. The symbol for Charmwork itself, which is the trees spewing out their magic, their charm force. The world of Charmwork, and then the symbols for the 4 seasons, because trees are a big thing in this world, thanks to Charmwork itself. And then also in there is at least one, maybe several, of the symbols for which Charmwork you have. I know at the very least I have the blue clouds in there. Yeah, right there. That mean illusion, because the cat we'll be drawing today has illusion Charmwork. We're gonna have to loop that one in. Oh, and I also have the symbols for the different groups in there. So the house cats, city folk, wild dwellers, travelers are also in there. And I also saw which year or decade does the story take place in? If you were to observe a human from Charmwork, would they have mobile phones? Yes. Yeah. This story essentially takes place in the modern day. I'm leaving it open for right now which exact year, or if this is a fantasy realm in which we've effectively been in the 20th century for 80 years. Because I don't necessarily know if I'll want to write about the great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents of my cast one day, and still will need them to have phones or cars or something. I don't know. So leaving it open as a possibility that maybe this is a fantasy... It's already a fantasy Earth, but maybe this is a fantasy Earth where history did not work the same way as in our world, and we're effectively in the modern day forever. I don't know. Who's to say? But it is intended to be in the modern day right now. Let's see. What if there was a guardian animal that has the power from that big rare tree, and they're like super wise, like Midnight from Warriors, except they have super tree powers and are not a badger? That sure would be cool. I cannot say much more on that. So yes, what they're talking about is the noble wood, mentioned in the Charmwork video, again by Commander Orchid. Yes, so the noble wood is... I have to be careful what I say, because I'm me, Sunnyfall author, and not speaking as Commander Orchid with her own biases. So, the noble wood, and take this with a grain of salt, is a legendary tree. No one in our region has located it, but it is known to possess immense power. Basically every tree in this world, technically every plant in this world, is naturally able to tap into the magic of the world, and it will channel it, sort of like photosynthesis, into its own style of Charmwork. That's why different plants will give you different types of Charmwork. The reason trees are the only ones that can give creatures Charmwork when they're born next to them is because they're the only ones that are big and strong enough to essentially have charm force to spare, so that they can gift a connection to their Charmwork onto the creatures born in this world. So it stands to reason that the larger the tree, the more force they would have to give. The longer and more ancient and experienced and rooted in the ground, the more Charmwork they're going to have to give. In the case of most trees, this could just mean it's able to give power to more cats, or it's able to last longer with that power. But in the case of the noblewood, basically the thought is that it is such a great tree. It is so large and so old and so unique that it can grant its power immediately. It doesn't have to wait until a cat is born. So if you were born with illusion charm work, for example, if you came across the Noble Wood, you would be able to get the Noble Wood's power immediately and essentially become one of the most powerful living creatures in the world. This is a very widely told story, especially among the Wild Dwellers, because of their focus on charm work. It is, again, no one in this region has actually come across the Noble Wood yet. So we don't know what power it would give. But hypothetically, it's often thought of as like the first tree. The very first tree or type of tree that was ever made, and that effectively taught all of the other plants of the world how to take on magic and how to give powers to cats and other creatures. So it really is the most powerful end goal that you could possibly hope for. And someone, badger or otherwise, who was living near it, who got its power, who had known about its power before any of our cast, would certainly be a wise and powerful figure. That would be a very strong archetype for them. It would be very fitting. And that's all I'm going to say for now. Yeah, I think I can say that. It's not their only goal, but yes, the story's antagonist will 100% be searching for the Noble Wood. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Oh, make the villain the guardian of the Noble Wood, corrupt it by its power over time. Well, you'll just have to see about that one. I have been avoiding, very, very specifically avoiding talking about the antagonists. There are more than one. That part I have sent in Discord. There is a main antagonist, but they're not the only one, and they both work with others, and there are other more minor antagonists we will meet along the way. How much can I say? You think I'm implying something? No! I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't imply anything. Basically, I've been trying to limit most of what I tell you to information that you would find out in the first book. And across the first book, the way that the plot is going to be formatted and the way you learn about the world is intentionally a little bit deceptive. The journey that Lotta thinks she's going on and the journey I'm taking you on as a reader is different from the one that I'm not even accidentally, that I'm purposefully but stealthily weaving into the background. So I am secretly teaching you about the world and the real overall conflict while you think you're having a relatively mundane adventure. Not in a relatively grounded adventure in our version of reality. Not necessarily mundane. But because of that, you don't necessarily... You aren't formally introduced to the antagonists as antagonists in the first book. And as a result, I have been keeping my lips shut about them. I'm not lying through my teeth. Oh, no. I would never lie to you. I tell only the absolute truth and the whole truth. I never keep anything secret about things I'm writing. No. I'm pretty sure at this point in time there are only a few people on the world who know the antagonist of Charmwork. And most of them are like close friends or family that I've had to blab to. I just had to blab to someone when I came to a breakthrough. But it's stuff I haven't written yet and won't get to write for a while until I finish book 1. So I've been keeping my mouth shut. I'm going to try to publish the book. I don't know in what avenue it would be just yet. Like I don't know if I'd officially publish through a publisher or self-publish. The publishing industry in general, particularly for young adult books, has been complicated lately. I have some family who work in the field, and I've been hearing their struggles with it the whole time, so I'm aware that it would be a hard sell. Additionally, the genre of my book is not necessarily, and content as well, is not necessarily conducive to easy marketing, we'll call it. I very intentionally avoid creating like the like stereotyped, here's your personality, here's your group setting that you see in a lot of young adult fiction that really hooks in fandoms. And I have a lot of adult characters who are going through adult struggles that they're fine for kids to read. Like, I would say they're important for kids to learn about. But they're not teenage stories. They're not going through high school. They're not worrying about their love life or their best friend, maybe ditching them for the popular girls. So it's less in line with what the public is used to seeing. I avoid, mostly just because they're not what I'm interested in. I avoid a lot of the tropes that are common to and expected for my age group and genre. And that would make it a hard sell for a publisher. It is entirely possible. It is possible that I would get published anyway. If not, I am fine with self-publishing as well. That is an avenue I am open to. It's just I don't know what would happen just yet, and I am waiting until probably until I'm like in the editing stage for book 1. Which, for the record, I have been chugging along this whole time, but I am not quite near the finish line yet. I have technically only just gotten to the introduction of Foxtail and Prevette, because it takes a while for us to meet them. They are a different part of the story who the group does not turn. And let's see. Commander is evil? No. I only know good things about commanders. No. Commanders are great. And her leadership team definitely has everything under control. Yeah. Nothing about her is evil. Oh, actually, I shared this with the Patreon when I finished building it a couple weeks ago, but I can let you see it. There is a... Let's see. Back when I was first designing the characters, I made... Let's see if it'll load. I made these just as mock-ups. You probably saw the speed paint of it when I was doing the original video. Just to mock up some of the main characters. I recently completed this one as well, which goes over a lot of the support cast. And I'm not going to tell you who any of them are. Or, okay, I'm not going to tell you who most of them are. And I won't let you in on their personalities or roles in the story or when you meet them. But what I will say is that this right here, this right here is Commander Orchid. There she is. She's a nice little girly. And this is her lieutenant, Nightshade, and her scholar, Aloe. And they are the heads of the Woodland Guard. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Anyway. I'm going to go back to Cat now. How they would communicate, if at all? That's a good question. I do have many steps of that written already, so I can let you in on some of it at least. Lotta definitely communicates with her the most, especially to start, because they have lived together for so long, and Lotta is familiar with like which barks and which types of barks mean different emotions for her. There are certain sounds that she uses pretty regularly that Lotta can recognize and replicate. She knows what, for instance, a wagging tail means, or what it often means when she opens her mouth and starts panting happily. She doesn't really wag her tail because she has a curled tail, but her tail does perk up on her back. She'll prance back and forth on her paws. Like, she is pretty good at expressing her emotions. And if there is something she would want Lotta to see, rather than something that they need something that they would need to communicate in a longer sentence. She is fairly good about doing certain like warning barks or calls to let them know that there is something she wants them to look at. Beyond that, it's inference. A lot of it is guessing from the context what they mean. And you as readers, if you decide to go into it, can actually know a lot more about what Manny is saying than the cats can directly. And you can sometimes tell when the cats are getting it wrong, when they misinterpret what Manny was saying, or just don't answer her questions when she asks them. It happens. Hello! I'm going to turn this around because of the place where my desk is. This particular line is going to be tricky otherwise. I'm almost done with the line work. The front and back will be significantly easier to do than this, because they're essentially altered copies of the left and front. Oh, yeah, no. It's still fantasy, it's still a magical world, and there are certain things I'm doing where I'd probably make a video about the exact limits at some point, but there are definitely some cases where I'm saying, yeah, I know a cat would be like this, yeah, I know a cat can do this. I'm not doing that, though. And mostly it comes down to I want more creative possibilities, or I want to avoid something that would be uncomfortable to write in a book. And that's essentially the two, but like most of the time, especially if I can get away with it, if it presents a unique challenge or opportunity, I do my best to just stick with it, go with what would be realistic, and that includes, no, they cannot just talk to Manny. She speaks dog, they speak cat, they cannot communicate any more than they can talk directly to humans. How do I draw like that? Well, I put my pen down and then I move my lines back and forth. A lot of my drawing skills have been built up over time, a lot by studying my friends, but I do not feel competent enough to give a tutorial in it, because art is not my profession, art is not my job. Okay. we're at a big moment. It is time to finally pick out a color palette and some markings for this girl. Also, before I start, yes, I play video games. Not as much as some people do, but I do play some games. I play, the top thing on my mind right now is Undertale and Deltarune, because the 3rd and 4th chapters are coming out so soon. But I have also done a lot of Ace Attorney. That is what I've been taking my friends through the games in our game nights recently. If the pen is off, there are actually tools you can use on your particular tablet to reconfigure those settings to make sure it's lining up better. Yeah. Lilac and cream. Let us try it. Let us start off with a... I'm just gonna do a couple blobs for a second, so I can pick out and see if I like a color palette. I think I want this to be a little bit warmer, actually. Yeah? No. Let's do some fiddling around with this. That might work. Let's see. A lot of grays and blacks. This one, I am actually going to overrule. I genuinely apologize, but there is a reason. Because a goal I personally have, for reasons I cannot explain, is that I want her to contrast as strongly as possible with this cat, the little brown one. I will say nothing else about that. Nothing else at all. Yes, this cat will have heterochromia. That is specified in our directions. We will get there eventually, but it's going to be teal and something for eyes. And let me see if I can do anything about this. What do I want you to look like? Well, first of all, I'd like your line art to be all in one piece. So I'm going to be making this particular cat mostly the cream color. And we're going to add in the lilac and beige. I'm going to call that a beige. Lilac and beige as the markings. And let's see. Yellow and teal, catch your eyes. I like the suggestion. I'm gonna wait until the colors are in so that I know what exactly it is I'm doing with this cat. But let's see. See you, Echo Frost. All right. I am very bad with markings. I'm inclined to do like a what if all the markings were on like one side of her face, I want to say, for the face. Okay. And then something like that. I'm gonna make the whole mane in markings. Well, I do make the whole mane in markings a lot. Okay. Well, the other option is... Yeah, that'd work, because that'll go with other brown cat, who is not pictured here, but I needed to reference somehow. I mean, this part is fully just what if I stole from Sunnyfall, but I really love asymmetrical paw markings. So I'm going to go with that for those 4, and then this back one is not going to be there at all. And I think the whole tail probably is going to end up being maybe that. As far as the placements of the markings, let's see. Not an eyebrow. No eyebrow for you. And we're gonna go bum, boom, baloom. There we go. I do sing, yes. Or I did sing at the very least. I was a singer for the entirety of my childhood and still frequently sing to myself as an adult. If I had the opportunity and timing, I would totally join an adult chorus as an adult. I was more classically trained. It's just that between teaching and YouTube and Charmwork, I am very time limited. So I'm trying not to take on more consistent projects that take a whole lot of time. Is anyone going to die in Charmwork? I'm gonna go with yes, but I am not killing off any of the characters you have met so far. I'm sticking to that rule. Basically, the main cast is going to remain the main cast. There are a couple of reasons for that. Number one, because I don't necessarily want the impact of my story to be based on its tragedy, but on the growth of its characters, and you can't necessarily grow after you're dead. Once you kill off a character, that's kind of it for them. You are done. You're not getting any more out of them. And for that reason, I'm always really hesitant about which characters I choose to do that to, especially if they're ones where I want their arcs to mean something for the viewer. The secondary reason is that I'm actually going to make your tail like a paintbrush. That has nothing to do with the reason, but I think I'm going to make your tail like a paintbrush, like with the beige at the end. I don't know what to do about your face. Your face stresses me out. I'm gonna duplicate your paw pad markings on the other side. Yeah. And also, did I do this in the same layer? I did do this in the same layer. I should stop that. I should stop that before I go too far. I was talking about something. Oh, yes. But also because I want this story to be more comforting. It's still there is a bunch of darkness. The characters have been through a lot and will continue to go through a lot. But I would very much like to write something more optimistic. So bad things will happen, but it's not going to destroy the characters' lives when it does. And I'm very, very attached to some of the ending places that I have these characters going to. And want them to be able to reach it. I want them to get there. I think it's going to be something like that with like a side splatter. What I think I'd really like is under your eye flap. That's a really unflattering way to talk about it. Eye flap. But under your swoop of angsty, suspicious hair, giving her the space there. I think we're making her more gray and cream than we are calico at the moment. I don't know where to add it in your Where would it not look awkward? I mean, we could try... No, I don't like that. I do want it to... don't necessarily want it to just be the stripe again, but... Okay. Idea. Okay. Let's see if this looks remotely good, or if I should stop. And also, what is that layer? There we go. Okay. So, paintbrush tail. That's not going to work because I didn't close this off. I'm going to close that off now. I also didn't close that off. That's also a problem. Yep. I think the entire bottom half is going to have to be not connected. Oh no, I hate that. I really hate that. I need to fix that. That is better. I actually like that a lot better. I like that much, much better. Yeah, so it's almost like a single tabby stripe is there. I'm also wary of going over design with this one, but I know it is a thing that can happen. Calicos can be mostly one color, you're right. I just want her to distinctly look like a calico because she is one of the first calicos I've gotten to draw. Inside of her ear, I have a pretty strict style on that one that I try to avoid going out of for the Charmwork cast specifically. But it is a thing I definitely do for like patron commissions and sometimes art fight. I am capable of drawing different ear styles, but I want to keep the ears consistent for my own works, my own projects. I'm gonna do a couple little paint splatters on your tail. That looks like a highlight. I don't like that. A couple little dots. Funky little dots. And maybe like one toe in the back then to frame it a little bit. All right. That eyeliner thing that some cats have. Well, she has eyeliner. she has a thick eye. She is a suspicious gal. I think I'm also going to, because I've left this one as just white, I think I'm going to make ear tip on this side into the paintbrushy effect. That could work. That could work. Let's see, does that look functional? See, I still don't like the face mask necessarily. I think it doesn't fit with the dot aesthetic she has everywhere else. Yeah, Sunny sounds very different talking casually than she does when she's recording a pre-made script. Yeah, I think... Oh. No, I think I have to redo this. I don't like this. But what do I like? What do I want? What do I want from you? No. I am using Clip Studio for this. No, when I'm done with this drawing, we're actually going to be done for today. This is a challenge video, but I am trying to do it relatively quickly. And the character reference sheet is probably going to take all of our time anyway. She could be a good artist. I think she could be a good artist. I think she would get along very well with one of my other characters if she was a good artist. That might be how she manages to... Well, no. No, because they won't overlap in the correct part of the story. Dang it. Ugh. It would have been great. It would have been wonderful. Okay. I might need to also think about... No, because I already have that... Okay, what if I... No. Okay. Maybe I should color the eyebrows first and see how I feel about it then. Because I think the eyebrows are going to be the ginger. Yeah. But you still need something. You still need some ginger over there. It's unbalanced right now. Your face has hardly any ginger on it. Let's see. Will I do this another time? I certainly could. I'm planning to do some more streams this summer. It wouldn't necessarily be Charmwork characters specifically, but definitely streams and probably art on streams for at least part of it. Can you make her a bit happier? No. Because here's my reasoning. Her personality, as directed to me, is intelligent and logical, reckless and suspicious. She is not positive in any conceivable way. She is a guarded, suspicious lady. She is not happy. I will have a happy expression up here, but I will not be drawing that down here as her main expression because it is not her main personality. That is a thought. I could make the left side of this mask ginger, because that would also make it stand apart from the tail. Can I select the mask, please? Yeah, it really does feel doing Sunnyfall now, but oh, doesn't that happen every time you're a calico? It's a fact of life. Dilute or not, I can't escape my calico roots. Oh, yes, that would be the problem there. Okay. Whoosh. Please. Look functional. I can work with that. That's actually not bad. That's not the worst. I don't hate that. I learned to draw originally by brute force. I said, oh no, I need to draw for YouTube in the next couple of months, and then forced myself to learn as quickly as I possibly could. My earlier videos are not great examples of artistic work as a result of that. I think I'm happy with that as I'm working. I'm pleased. Okay. Let's transfer that onto the side profile then, because that's going to be more complicated. But also I just happen to have a lot of good artist friends who were very helpful in this regard. Yeah, no, this cat, whatever her name is, has been through a lot. She was apparently orphaned because she was raised alone by foxes. And then some cats killed her fox parents. Is what we have decided. So she became a traveler and started wandering the world on her own. She met up with some dogs. She met some coyotes. But she has essentially detested cats for a long while now. And I should move that into a different layer. That would be a smarter choice. And by the time that we meet her in the main story, she is not happy with anyone. And she is going to be exactly what I need, actually. Don't blame me for this one. This is all based on chat's ideas. Yeah, I did not decide this one. I guess I made the final call. I should take some responsibility. But it was not my fault. It was not my fault. There are plenty of tragic backstories in this universe that are my fault, but I'm not taking credit for this one. Which notch do you go up to? There's something like that to start. You also have a series of dots on your side. I should bring back the lines for this. That would be helpful. Yeah, I actually got that almost perfect. That's nice. This doesn't have to be flawless. I'm not using it for animation. But I do want it to be roughly on model, so it's useful. Yeah, I think there's a certain amount of insecurity over her being a cat, one of the creatures that killed her actual family. That is definitely an element emerging in this character. I should say the story place I have planned for her to be in will give her some time to be happier. Like she will definitely be able to spend some recovery time and learn more about good things that cats can be. It's also not necessarily going to end on a tied up bow happy note. It will still be happy, but not as uniformly happy as it could be. I think that is where I'm going with this, is the backsplash type idea, because I already have a front splash that will be there when I flip to the other side. What other animal species are in Charmwork? Every animal species that exists in our world. The only caveat here is that this takes place in a specific setting of the world, which I may very well reveal one day. Who's to say? But it takes place in a specific place of the world, so not every animal exists in that place. But Charmwork as a concept, as a magic force, exists everywhere across this world. So somewhere there are koalas that have Charmwork of a sense. Okay, there's that. I want to bring Liney's back. Yeah, because you're a little far up. Yeah, that'll do. I want all of you to keep your name suggestions in your heads, because we will be coming back to that. But for this exact moment, I cannot settle on a name. And here's the reason. Names in Charmwork follow some specific formats, just because of the way that names often signify which group or which faction you are a part of. So if you have a very human-based name, most often you're going to be a house cat. You may be a member of the city folk. If you have a name based on any objects or things in nature, like squirrel, bat, oak, leaf, any of those things, you're most likely a wild dweller. And different families tend to have different traditions of what exact names they give themselves. And then if you... city folk have the least rigidity around their names. But often if you are named after a attribute of some sort, if you are... Atlas is one of our characters. They're good at tracking and keeping track of their surroundings. We have Sleuth, who is very sneaky and good at getting around unnoticed. We have Protector, who prides themselves on being able to stand up for someone. Like, all of those names would be very city folk adjacent. They also often tend to name themselves since they don't have as much ties to their family. But there are occasions where city folk will keep names they got from their parents, which would probably lean more towards either house cat parents or wild dweller parents. Travelers are the trickiest ones to name because they can come from quite literally anywhere in the world and don't have to follow any of those name traditions. But the thing I've been doing is they are often named directly after animals, which is some of the ones that have visited us are named directly after animals. And others have names based on other languages or verbs. Like any of the things that wouldn't necessarily fit into one of the name categorizations we have here. Let's see. So for our girl here, whoever she may be, we're looking into, she could be named Fox after her parents. She could be named after a verb that she is skilled in. She could be given a name that means something in a different human language, not from the area. Essentially anything we want. It's just going to be justifying why that name probably wouldn't have been from around here. Something that is obviously not one of our normal name traditions. Echo could work. Echo is not in line with our current conventions of names. No, that'll be on the other side. That dot will. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with that. I think I need to draw back both of these a bit because this is supposed to be going over that hole. Whoosh. Okay. And then also her gray will need to be pulled back. Yeah. Okay. And that would be all the ones for this side. So I will mark that in. Okay. She doesn't look the worst. Raiden, absolutely. I will keep these open. Oh, I should close the poll. Yeah, that is long done. General tips for world building. Start with something that you really enjoy or that would be advantageous to the characters is what I do. I very much enjoy different types of trees and the majestic beauty of trees and their place in the ecosystem. So I wanted to build my magic system around that. Also, a lot of the group divisions and the cultures of different groups and their beliefs is a very character-based decision. I mostly have them there because it's what will be useful for me telling the character journeys that I need our characters to go through. Beyond that, world building is honestly the part I have the least familiarity with and that I tend to do last around everything else, because I am so much more focused on the characters. Pebble or Ty, yeah. These are great suggestions. We will get to them soon, but not at this moment. Okay. Big decision time. Is this your... Oh, these are your eyebrows. Oh, we need to do something about your eyebrows because those eyebrows aren't going to work anymore. Okay, so what I'll actually do instead is this. I'm going to do your lilac color, but darker and more purple. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna make that one that, but you are gonna need to be something else entirely. You are gonna need to be darker of that. Yeah. Maybe not that much darker. Yes, that much darker. Okay. That will do. Yeah, okay. Now I also need a color for her nose. Okay. I want to lean more gray because of reasons. So I think I'm going to start off with her purple color and lean towards the pinky grays and see how that works and just fiddle around with it a bit. Let's see. That's a little too gray. I think I also just want you to be lighter. Maybe a little warmer. That's the opposite of warmer. Yeah, something like that as a base, but yeah, that'll do. That'll do. Okay. So that is our two colors there. I also want you to be this color, which is just a darker version of the fur tone under it. Again, that's the style I've been sticking to for these. Oh, Renard, yes. I mean, they aren't near France, but we could gloss over that. I think having her ears the same will give a little bit of unity to this design, because otherwise we're a bit all over the place. Yeah, I like that. Before I actually start on the eyes, because I know the eyes are the only parts that have shading attached to them, I am going to put all of these colors into our color code so I do not forget about them. All right, so that is that. Color code up here. Hello, color code. This is essentially where I set up the fur colors, which will be boom, boom, boom. This is going to be my first diluted calico, which will be nice. Fur colors. Ears, nose, and mouth. Ears is ya. Nose is ya. Oh, I should bring that over a little bit more to make sure everything's covered. Nose. And then mouth. A little bit cleaner. Okay, and then eyes and paws. Paws is easy. Paws will be... Oh, no, paws are not easy. Maybe I should bring that up to start with. Yeah, that'll be in expressions over here. Let's bring up the paw. Oh, boy. I have created a problem for myself in the paw department. Okay. So there are basically 3 options for paws. So I'm going to do 3 paws. Because, no, actually there are 4 paws. There are 4 paws. Oops, okay. I'll live with it. Let's do it. Okay. Paw 1 is all white. That is, it's actually back left. Back left is all white. Yeah. The back right paw is all gray. The front right paw, where is that? That's this one. The front right paw is partially gray and partially white. I should have made this easier on myself. I did not. Oh well. And the last paw is mostly gray, but with orange on the edge. And this is going to be complicated. That's fine. I'll make it work. So what are your paw pads like, Musty? Okay. You are the nose. Let's see if I can just apply those as our base. And then we will dabble with the paw pads. Oh, let's see. Okay. For you, I want your paws to be a bit lighter. Like that. And I will also do that to paw pads right here, where it crosses over with the white. Yep. And then for you, paw back here, I want you to be a bit warmer where you cross over. Yeah. Okay, so there are still 3 paw pad colors. That's not the worst. But boy, is that more complicated than it needs to be. This is why you don't let me roam free with designs. Especially with calicos. I get all over the place. Alright. So, paws are also going to need 3 color codes. This is fine. So our normal paw pad color is going to be this. We also have this color, and we have this color as the 3 colors of paw pad. Now, the eyes and paws section is going to get awfully crowded because we also need 2 eyes. Okay. Here is the trick. Let's do this. Let's rip off this bandage. Heterochromia is just far too many colors to manage. It's the only reason that I don't make heterochromia in my cats usually. Okay. Let us see. We have teal is going to be for 1. I think it's only fair to make it that eye. What color do we want for the other eye? Let's do this. I'm going to put up a poll for all of you. Let's see. Which color is the other eye? Brown. I heard yellow before. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. End poll. Sorry about that. Add option. There we go. Which color is her other eye? Teal. No, that's not how it works either. Brown. Yellow. Green. Purple. Alright. Cast your votes. What color is this eye? Oh, we're bouncing between a couple. Purple. I'm seeing a few purple. But also some brown. Kind of purplish like a foxglove, too. True. Very true. Brown is nipping at its heels. I'm going to wait until we get to 20. So 3 more votes will decide it. 19? Oh no. 21. There we go. Alright, purple it is. Purple is your color, my lady. So I'm going to put in... Oh, this is going to get crowded. So we have teal here. And teal we're going to use... this is the brighter color. And this is the darker color. And then we also Have purple. Let's see what looks good with that. I'll start off with this and go from that color so it looks a little more in place. Yeah. Wow, you were funky. That is gonna be the color. That is gonna be that color. I didn't intend to plant the purple seed, and yet I totally did. I did plant it. There it is. Planted right in your little noggins. Okay, and the darker purple shall be... Yeah, there we go. Now I need to shade those two. Oh boy. Okay. So there's my color code. That is not an appropriate color for you anymore. So I'm going to do... let's do the background elements right now, actually. Because I think this is going to get complicated. Well, not the actual background, but the color. Let's go with... U for the paper? No, not U for the paper. U for the paper. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. And then the color code can be a deeper purple. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work for you. Color code is complete. All right. Let's get you shaded, m'lady. Her name certainly could be Foxglove. It would be very telling. We will get there. We will get there. So that is your color. We're going to shade you on the bottom here. And this color will be across the top. Lovely. What about teal? That's you across the top. And you at the bottom. Lovely. Clip to that. And whoop. And clip to that. Lovely. So that is finished front. I'm going to finish up the side as well before we move on to the other sides. All right. So this is going to be your purple eye side. And I'm going to get out that color. Woohoo. Lost Fox is a good idea. It's leaning a little too close to a warrior's name. I am trying to intentionally avoid warriors-esque stuff because this is very, very not warriors. It really has nothing to do with warriors other than being cats and some of them living in the wild. Ivytail is actually the name of 2 different warrior cats. So I'm not going to do that one. Alright, so here is how we now do the thing. What I'm going to do is for the right cat, I'm going to take the left cat and go flip. And then drag you over to where the left cat stands. And we're going to fix you up so your markings work. Then for the back cat, I'm going to take the front cat and go whoop and flip. And adjust you so that your markings and your body work, because you are not currently facing forward, m'lady. Also, your tail is big. Skulk or Swift? Ah. Swift is a type of fox. I actually have one of my longest running role plays at the moment is called Tales of the Outcast, Tales Tails, and we are all a group of foxes, and I do have a very good friend who is playing a Swift fox, and it's delightful. Alright, so with this, here's how we transform the front cat into the back cat. You go away, you go away. And then we're going to start erasing all of you. You will be in front of the head. You will be behind the head, or behind the hair, I should say. You can go away. You will be erased completely from this world. Eyes and eyebrows no longer needed. Nor are our ear middles. For the back here, I'm going to erase most of this because on the back, the mane does something completely different. The mane goes up and over. I want to do that one more time because I did not like that stroke. That's what art is, really, just saying, I don't like that, and doing it again until you do like it. That's how digital is, anyway. And for the back, you're just going to be taking all of you away. Won't need you. Go away. You're not going in like that. And it will be something like this. Woohoo! Alright. There we go. So that'll be the back of mane. Now I need to do the tail. What's happening right now? Front cat is being turned into back cat. That's what's happening right now. And also, people in the chat are suggesting names, because we will be getting there quite soon. I will need to place in a name for this kitty very shortly, actually. When I'm done with both the back side and the right side. Alright. Now, for the legs. Legs are the trickiest. The way this basically works is we erase the front bits. So these are not her toe pads anymore. They are not the fronts of her feetsies. If you're doing like a solid colored cat or even a tabby or something, the marking transference becomes a whole lot easier, but because I am doing a calico with very asymmetrical markings, I'm going to have a bit more work to do. And that's fine. I'm fine with that, because I like calicos. And at this point, I'm also going to erase absolutely everything that would go under the tail. Quick little cheap trick to turn your front cat into your back cat on a turnaround. Because none of these are my final draft or anything. They're not meant for illustrative purposes. They are just here to teach me what the cat looks like. I don't need them to be flawless. I don't need them to take me 8 hours. Alright. I think I effectively just have to redo, like, all of your markings, though. Okay. Let's do this. First of all, where do I start with you? I'm going to start with the paws, because that is the easiest for me to handle. So, in the grays, your front right paw is the one with a tall marking. So I'm going to add in front right paw, tall gray marking. Your front left paw has a short gray marking, which is just on the toes. It wouldn't even show up from this angle. Great. Your back left foot is all white. Your back right foot has the short gray markings and one gray toe. Okay. How short? A little bit shorter. This is a jigsaw puzzle. Alright. Ivory, berry, foxglove, tiger grass, echo, quail, peach. All good options. We shall see. Okay. And then you also have an all gray tail. That one will be easy to do. I almost just want to... Oh, and also, I forgot to do this part. Your tail's the wrong way, madame. Your tail's going the wrong way now. I need to fix that. Thank you for reminding me. Okay. So now that you have your tail going the right way, let us delete that. And we will fix up the orange markings. Oh, no, wrong color. Okay. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, now I just need to fill in this. Her dots are on the front of her tail, so these would not show from this side. That will be easy enough to do. And then her entire tail besides that needs to be in the gray. At this point, the design itself is more or less done. It mostly just becomes the mechanical work of, okay, how do turnaround work? Charmwork, yes. Oh, hello. Nice to meet you. Charmwork is not a fan fiction. It is a fiction that I am writing. And it is an original fantasy xenofiction story about some lovely magic cats and their trials with various types of relationships in a world that they're not necessarily all suited for, I think I would call it. in different ways, and it gets more or less specific for each of them, but yeah. Ear marking can actually stay identical on both sides. That's great. And then I'm also going to have to do that for the front. Her mask won't actually show at all from this side. That's nice. That won't be there. Her gray will come up behind her mane like this. She's definitely more gray than she is ginger, I think. There we go. That'll be that for that. And then I need to fix that gray again. Let's see. You actually would not show from this side. No, you would not. So I think at this point, and this is just going to be what would show on the front. So this is going to be where I will put the middle mask. How best to depict this? And how much do I want it to be symmetrical across? I think roughly symmetrical. Just oblong a little bit to account for the extra gray on that side. So this then becomes an extra little bit of gray on top. extra little bit of ginger, which will be connected to the front here. This could honestly be its own splash. And then this will be a circle at the top here. Yay! Okay. And I think, yeah, that is her back view, whoever she may be. All right. Which means that I can, whoop, sorry about that. I can call you back cat, delete the other back cat, and move on to right cat. Right cat is significantly easier because I don't need to change any of her line work except for the bangs. But that part will be easy enough. I will just be adding in a head. Oh, was this not right cat? This is the wrong right cat, of course. I will be adding in bangs. There we go. From her head. Nope. Erasing away the excess. Bang hair. And then we're also going to need to put in her eye and eyebrow. Which, again, easy enough. Easy enough to do. Just need to add in her excessive eyeliner time. Whee! She's a rude little girl. And I think I don't like that. I think I need to do it again. I think I need to bring it in just a little bit so that the angle of the curve starts off from a nicer place. Yeah, I like that better. There we go. It's probably pretty obvious, but I do not generally draw on stream or on the spot. So there is a certain extent to which it gets muddled when I'm trying to make a bunch of different decisions all at once. All right. Like, first decision, you are going to need to be a teal eye. And actually, I'm going to fill that in white, just so I don't have any difficulties with the teal eye. Here we go. All right. Yeah. Yes, thank you guys. Charmwork quite literally has nothing to do with warriors. Its first incarnations weren't even going to include cats. So it is very, very not warriors. There we go. All right, now I just need to fix up all the markings. Let's start with paws again, because that worked out for us last time. Okay. So, front left is the tall gray stripe. Start with that as our baseline. I am drawing with a drawing tablet. I have never quite gotten the hand of drawing with a mouse. Welcome back, everyone. And thank you. Okay, front left is the tall gray stripe. Front Sorry, no, front right is the tall gray stripe. Front left is the gray toes. Back left is the mid-height. And this is going to have the singular brown or beige ginger. Some variation of toe that is not as gray and purple. Okay. And then back left is all white. Fantastic. So I am now going to do the front left ginger toes. And the back right ginger toe singular. I think it's safe to say at this point, this character will actually appear in Charmwork. They're not going to be a remarkably major character or anything, but there is a spot I needed to fill for a particular role in the book, and this is going to work out perfectly with that role. So I'm going to go with that. Let us see. What all do I want to do with this? So you are going to be just a little bit of a taller stripe, or a taller splash, I should say. Not a stripe. No stripes here. That's the wrong color. But otherwise you're going to be the same. I'm actually going to take the cheap and easy route. Because it's simple. And it works. There we go. And... Ooh, okay. So this is going to be the fun side where I do that. I'm going to have to do some finicking around then. I'm going to get rid of essentially all of the gray that's not part of her bangs, because everything else is going to be rewritten. Let's see. Ginger toe beans, yes. Noblewood I explained earlier, but yes, it is a legendary, the very first tree to be able to grant charm work. Hypothetically grants immense power to whoever is able to discover it. We don't know exactly what that power is, because none of the characters in the story know what that power is. But it's something. Alright, so let's start with face stuff. Oh, let's start with eyebrow. What is wrong with me? Why did I not give you an eyebrow? I should have given you an eyebrow a long time ago. There we go. Let us... Yeah, I don't actually need you guys anymore. Go away. Let us add in... Oh, that's actually a more slanted eyebrow than I meant it to be. It is not in line with the cold exterior of the others. So I'm going to fix that. Just narrow it out a little bit. There we go. And you would be that color. So that color you become. No. What is wrong? There you go. Alright. So, mask time. Illusion does really fit her. I actually haven't talked about her illusion charm work at all yet, because I was so sure how I would approach that before I even started the stream. So, yes, illusion charm work, I can give a brief rundown on that. Basically allows you to make, if you've ever played D&D, it's essentially a minor or major illusion. You're creating an image or sound or scent that others can see, and it will not exist. It can't be interacted with, but it is a fake thing you are creating. And you can, if you're powerful enough, essentially decide who sees these, who is tricked by them. And this is often used for practical purposes to escape danger, to distract people, or to lure someone away. Yeah. She is quite floofy, as was the request. It is her right ear, actually, that has that problem, so I'm gonna have to switch those ears. Yeah. Her right ear is the one that is solid. Her left ear is the one that has the swoopity-doo. That's the technical term for it, of course. Kitsune would be a very cool name, yeah. I'm going to be putting up a poll very shortly with some of the suggestions I've been seeing, so if there are any you want me to make sure I remember, throw them up now, and I will make sure I see them. I don't actually know how many options fit into a poll, but we could do this as a countdown if we need to. Best options from each poll go up against each other, something like that. And this is going to be the side that has the fun markings, okay. Yeah, okay. And this is going to be, yeah, this. Alrighty. Whoop, whoop. This is going to be, I believe, the last marking for the turnaround. Yes, because everything else will have been done. Did I manage to completely forget on her left side the actual... Oh. I am a silly fool. I am a silly, silly fool. There we go. That's closer. Alright, but back to right cat and actually finishing off the final marking. This one. Okay. And this is the one that is going to be partially gray and then also partially brown. And it is up something like that. Okay. She is a traveler. That part was decided, there we go, in the original poll. Yep. Of the four groups, House Cat, City Folk, Wild Dweller, and Traveler. Group is a loose term here. Places in society, maybe? Yeah, there we go. Okay, this is our kitty. Now, before I go on to the expressions, which I will be doing, I need to make up some background elements for this. And I will erase a lot of stuff. First of all, we're gonna do a purple background for her, since that appears to be her theme. And we're going to need to decide on a name, so I can put that in. Alright, let's see. Sunny is doing her best to read the chat. Sunny is also drawing, which splits your attention a little bit. Okay, how many options can I add? I can add 4. So I am going to put up a couple of different polls, and then we're going to do the runoffs between them. Reynard, Swift, Misty, Shatter. That will be our first group, and I'm also putting up a second one once we finish with this. This is just the first 4, and we will bring whoever wins this one into the semifinals, or the finals. This would be the semifinals. All right. I'm going to wait until we have 20 votes, and whichever wins this one is going to be going into our final round. Let us see. 21. Misty has won from that. Okay. Let us keep going. Let's see. Mirage. Splash. Foxglove, I know, has come up a lot. And Kitsune. And we will do one more round with the others, and then we'll have 3 going into the final. Yes, it is hard. Welcome to picking names. Do you know how long it took me to land on Charlotte or Lotta for our main character? Way too long. I actually decided Manitoba, Manny's name first, and Lotta's was picked to go with it, which worked out. There's a lot of reasons that works. All right. Foxglove wins that one. We are going to do one more round and then bring them into the final. So we have Violet. We have Echo, which I know has come up several times. We have Pebbles. Pebbles. And Vixen. Picking names was honestly the thing I did last at the end of every single character's creation. I had already chosen their personality, their backstory, their role in the story, their arc through the story, their design, all of their relationships, and then finally I would settle on a name, maybe. All right. So we are going to be doing our final 3. We have the winner of each poll, which was Misty, Foxglove, and Echo. Which one of these will be our character's name? I'm going to wait until like 27 on this one because we've been having a lot of votes. I don't want to actually rule someone out. Dun dun dun! Oh. Okay. I'm going with the democratic process still, but I just thought of a consideration that overrules one of the options. So we're going with Echo, the second choice pick, because one of my main characters, is, as you may or may not know, is called Foxtail. And having Foxtail and Foxglove as characters, particularly when one of them is so much more prominent than the other, is going to make readability much more difficult. So Foxglove is a great name. And I'm sorry I let it get that far. I should have figured out before, literally just now. But we're going with choice 2, Echo. Which still won one of the polls. Alright. So, Echo is your name. Let us choose a font. I usually go through a much more rigorous process with this, rather than just going through a bunch and choosing them randomly. But because we are on a bit of a time crunch here, I'm just going to open up my font book, look at a bunch of them, and choose. I almost want to go with... No, it's not going to be readable enough. We know she is logical, she is strict, she's reckless, she's very guarded and standoffish, she has a lot of a tragic past, so I'm looking for something somewhat sharp. Let's see. Ooh, maybe actually Copperplate. Copperplate could be good for her. Let's see. Copperplate. No. I'll keep looking. Okay. Fundamento, maybe? No, that was Privette's. I can't do that. I am not stepping on Privette's toes. Imprint? Maybe? This is a more intensive project, or a more intensive part of the process than it honestly really needs to be. It always is. But I want to make sure that the way the character's name is written does reflect a little bit about them. Okay. So now I need some sort of symbol or some sort of way to represent her, basically. And I'm also going to move everything over a little bit. Making sure it doesn't actually go up or down. But I just want her to be more centered on the canvas. Across her different iterations. That'll do. Alright. So Echo is right there. Yahoo! We need some sort of symbol for Echo. Something to just go around the edges. This is essentially just some sort of decoration. A fox head would work really well. Let's see if I can find a way to... I'm gonna look up a fox head reference and see if I can simplify this a little bit. Let's see. That is Echo's name. Let's try... I don't want to make this too complicated because I don't want to distract from the actual cat there. But maybe... like... I do want to make it readable as a fox. That's the one thing. If it's coming like from the other side. Let's see. Let me know. Is this all like at all like a fox? I might want to add in just a little bit of coloring, just the tiniest bit. Yeah, honestly, her being raised by foxes of all things, known for being sneaky and having illusion charm work, is kind of perfect. Okay. Is this at all like a fox? Okay. Yeah, I think making the nose a little longer is the right choice. You're right. Don't want to go too big on it because you also have a relatively thin muzzle, but it is long. Maybe a little more pointy. Yeah. Something like that. Narrow muzzle, you're absolutely right. I do not draw a lot of foxes. Just doing our best over here. Okay. That looks more foxy. I do want to move over the ear, because I think in the just silhouette style, it's getting lost a little bit. Let's fix up the bits down here. So it at least looks semi-clean. Okay. So that is our fox. Now Echo can represent, like Echo the name can represent the echo of the people, or the foxes rather, who came before her, who she has lost. She is their last remaining echo. I do want to have some sort of like sound motif like that, just to hearken to the actual echo sound. I think I want a larger brush though. Lighter color. I have very specific visions for you, Echo. Okay. And after this, no, not the loops. Let's see. Does this function? That could actually do. But in that case, I want to flip you over. Do the same thing over both paws. Oh, you are more than welcome to draw her. Echo and anyone else from Charmwork or otherwise, absolutely feel free to draw them. I don't use social media much in general anymore, but if you are on my Discord, I'm happy to see it there. If you send me an email, I'm happy to see it there. Or if you'd just like to draw it and post it to your own social media, also feel free. I can release Echo herself in a community post as soon as we're done with this stream, so you'll have the reference with you. Alright, so that is our Echo. Now we just need to do our expressions. Basically, the way I think about these is we have one, which is their base happy, one which is either worried or sort of an embarrassed happy, depending on who the character is. One for their excitement, one for their saddest, one for their angriest. So basically, normal, happy, little bit of uncertainty, max excitement, max sad, max angry is the way I usually do it. Alright. Yeah, fan art I am happy to take at any time. Essentially, it's always going to be Discord or through my contact email. If you send it to Blue Sky or Twitter or Tumblr, I will also get it if you tag me directly or DM me. Those are fine. I just don't go searching on the platforms in general anymore. Alright, so we're going to start off with happy. Where are the expressions right now, then? No, that's definitely where they are, so where are you guys? Oh, there we go. Yep, that would do it. Alright. So, what I'm going to do to make this easier on myself is take copy of front cat, paste down here, so I can make sure to get her proportions correct. And I'm going to take her up here, erase off her tail. It's lovely, but we don't need it for now. So I have a guide in drawing her, since this will be my first time drawing it off of the reference sheet. Oh, yeah. I heard that her tail could be long and fluffy, and I immediately said, squirrel. Oh, did it pause for a second? I apologize. Okay, she has a pointedly curved muzzle, so we're going to have to emphasize that down here. Whoosh. Okay. And I'm going to do the bangs afterwards. I'm actually going to start with this. See if it is enough to flip around or if we're going to have to mess with some stuff. Not that much. Yeah, I'm going to need to mess with her curves as well, because that is not where her curves should be. But that is roughly correct. Okay. I'm just going to merge those and do my favorite thing, mesh transformation. And then I'll fix the muzzle in a second, but I mostly just want to get the fur flaps in the right place first. I use Lotta under here, by the way, because face and body-wise, she's intended to be average. She is chubbier than average, but like height and proportions wise, she is average in most things. Will Echo be uploaded to Artfight? Sure. I can certainly do that. I had not thought of it, but sure. I will divulge a couple of secrets if I upload her to Artfight, because I want you to know what you're getting into with her backstory and all, but there's also some things that are going to come up in her character, in her arc, in her story. And her bangs do come down past her fur, so I'm going to make sure to do that. Yeah. Oh no, it's more curved than that. Yeah. Not that curved though. And also, since I am curved on the canvas, I'm going to have to adjust. Yeah, that's much better. And I will remove that little bitty bit of her ear. And that little bitty bit of her ear. How am I drawing while reading the chat? Good question. It's essentially coming down to I have them on two separate screens. My drawing is on my drawing tablet, and I have the live stream stuff set up on my computer screen. Oh, it's a not an actual Wacom Cintiq, but a Cintiq type model. So it acts as a second screen, meaning that I can see multiple things at once. Very handy, especially for references, or for live streams in this case. And I, from there, just have to... That's not where her ears should go. That's where Lotta's ears go. I was going on autopilot. Lotta, I need you to go away. And from there, it's just about pick times when you're not deeply engrossed in a line or when you're in between picking things, and spare a glance at the chat then. I love Lotta very, very much. She just needs to get out of the way because she's distracting my ear composition. Okay. Okay. I'm going to say a thing that I maybe should not. But I actually finished writing one of the chapters last night. And Lotta, my girl. My girl. I love her very, very dearly, but I am so very sad for her. And it's not because anything necessarily is... Well, there are bad things that are happening to her, but the things that make me the most sad about her, and that I'm doing very much on purpose, for the sake of giving her a nice arc over the story, is the way she was responding to bad events is not going to be called out right away as bad because she thinks she's doing good things, but it's ultimately highly self-destructive, and I can't I can't wait for her to not be doing that. I can't wait to get to parts of the books where that is not an issue for her anymore. The Discord, I announced this in the channel update a couple weeks ago, but the short version is it's not something that I was able to keep open publicly anymore, just because, okay, a lot of reasons that I can't necessarily explain all of them right here again, but it's a server that has a lot of people in it already. Not as much as, like, I don't know, million subscriber YouTubers, but a lot of people. And moderating that sort of space takes a very similar skill set to moderating a classroom, dealing with admins and parents. And because of that, the two things interacting were causing me a lot of overload on the same skill sets. And I was having difficulty keeping up with both of them at once. So instead, what I ended up doing was saying, okay, I need to have energy for school. That's not a negotiable. But I don't necessarily need to be spending as much energy on Discord moderation. So I will cut back. I'm not going to allow more people into the server unless they're in Patreon. 'Cause I'm not going to bar paying people from coming in. That would just be rude. But cut tons of people from coming in so that I can then focus my energy where it needs to be focused and still not have to close down the Discord completely, which would suck. Yeah. So if you are in it already, if you were in it before the closure, or if you are joining via Patreon, the link is available to you. Or if you're in it already, the link doesn't need to be available to you. You're just there. But otherwise, if you have fan art, just send it along through a social media or through email, and I will still see it. But yeah, I love my girl. My girl's so nice. Lotta is Lotta is someone very important to me now. Which, I mean, she should be. She's my main character, and I'm going to be spending the next several years with her in my head. But I really, really appreciate her. And she and the arcs she's going through are very personal to me. And basically having those arcs out into the world is one of my main driving factors in getting Charmwork done, getting it complete. Which it will be. It will be complete one day. I drew on the eyebrows. Again, I told myself I wouldn't do that. No! 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 No, undo that. Because the eyebrows need to be on a completely separate layer. So I'm going to do that separately. Free transform again. I'm in a position right now where, like, most of the things that I really, really, really love about Lotta are things I can't tell you about Lotta. Because obviously they're spoilers. They're the ends of her character arcs. They're the things that she goes through over all 5 books. But I can promise you I am excited. And I hope that is sufficient to help you understand my feelings before we actually get to read the darn thing. And I'm going to erase the top of her eye. Lovely. And then that can come down. And we're going to be drawing in nose. That's not a nose. Her nose is long and skinny. Her nose has some sharp corner. Her nose is definitely not heart-shaped, but I wasn't doing that anyway. I am always pleased when I can regard writing, obviously, but also art, video production, teaching, if I manage to do that. I don't talk about it very much, but it is a good career. It's also a hard career. I think my only problem now is I rounded out the top too much, so I'm going to unround the top. Okay, now let it go away. I need to see if this is functional. Gonna need to transform a little again. It is going in each and every chapter, and I know all of their names. I essentially know everything that happens in this series, and will be writing it steadily. I have finished some of the chapters, and I will finish the rest. I will finish the rest. I just don't know when. I have been keeping up a schedule. If you're already on the Discord on one account, could you send an invite to an alt account, which won't increase the amount of people? Yes. If that is your difficulty, basically we just need to set up with the mods to make sure that the alt is you, to have them confirm by DMs, yep, that's me, and then we can let you in. Absolutely. I can definitely help you do that afterwards. Just, I have Discord closed at this exact moment. Okay. Okay. So that'll be that. And you come down through this way. Yeah, if we're coming down through that, you can just... Yeah. Okay. Now, is this too much? I think we might need to cut it off a little sooner. Yeah, because that is not where you should be. It's closer to that. And as much as I love it, we're going to need to rein this in a bit. Okay. Basically, for the expressions, I create one fully expressionless head base, and then do the eyes, mouth, eyebrows onto it. That'll do. That is fine. Alright, so from there, I will recolor. I do. I do have pets. Or a pet. I have a cat named Bagiri, and she is actually sitting next to me as I record right now. I'm sure she has jingled or bumped the microphone a few times. She used to have a brother. He passed away about a month ago. But he was a delight. Okay. Okay. And then also this. Just trying to find all the ginger markings at once to make it easier to fill. Which is so much easier now. And then I'm going to do one gray layer under, one gray layer over for the different parts. All right. Actually goes down a little bit more. Yep. Yep. Yeah, Charmwork is my original xenofiction series that I am creating, not remotely connected to Warriors. The closest overlap it has is having cats. That's kind of it. And I'm going to make that part gray, and that will be all the gray. Lovely. I can actually unclip that for a moment. There we go. Delightful. Okay. So now it's just onto the detail stuffs. Earries. Earries, of course, is the technical term for inside of ear. And let's see. I'm gonna put these in, yeah. But I also need to do a second set of eyebrows because, or a second liner layer for the eyebrows. That's not how big her eyebrows are. How big are her eyebrows? Not the biggest, actually. I was over-exaggerating. Okay. Yeah, the only difference between Echo Guarded and Echo Happy is the direction of the eyebrows and the fact that there is the slightest hint of a smile. I'm going to make it even more slight. Yeah. All right. So that is where eyebrow 1 and eyebrow 2 will go. And then I also need you to come here. I'm actually going to need to label these. Eyebrow, eyebrow. That's correct? Yes. And then eye white will be plainly obvious, yes. So, to make my life easier, I make completely round pupils with their highlights already attached. I put these under the line work and over the whites. I swear this makes my life so much easier. Okay. I then make the colors as complete circles. And try to center them around the pupils. Okay. Fill in those with their appropriate shading colors. This time all the way to the top or all the way to the bottom. And then we can go boop, boop, and now we can have her look any old which way we want, and it'll be great. I'm going to start with that as our happy expression. And can I bring you back? Yeah. Thing that I need to do. The eye is wrong. I'll fix the marking under it as well. But yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. No, it's the marking that's wrong. That's the problem. I want to get these fixes done now. So it will not be an issue with the other expressions. Okay, that is a cat. That's an Echo. Charmwork is going to be a 5-book series. I know what the titles of all of them are, but I'm gonna hold off on that one for now. And that should be the entirety of the happy expression. So now I'm going to go boop, 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 boop. And this one is going to be the worried expression, the excited expression, the sad expression, and the angry expression. And I'm going to make sure to line them up with the lotas underneath. Oh, actually, the happy is also off. You're supposed to be just a little bit to the side. That's good. Thank you. All right. Now, worried, you can stand right there. Whoop. Excited, you can be right there. Sad, you can be right there. And angry, you can be right there. And I'm going to, before I commit to this, check with the background and make sure, yep, okay, everyone's too tall. Come on down, guys. Your ears, they approach the barrier of everything. Angry and disappointed in particular. I need you two to calm down. Okay, there we go. And that should be it. All right. So this is Echo, and we're going to do Echo Worried now. Actually, I have a thought of exactly what I would like to do for Worried. Yes, the people here have voted for elements of Echo, including Echo's name. Additionally, the original outline of who this character is came from this sheet, which was voted on by people in my community tab over the past couple of months. So we started off with some randomized choices, and we've added some today as well. Let's see. How do I want to portray this? I think what I would like is a very slightly more noticeable smile. That's not slightly more noticeable. That's not slightly more noticeable. It's closer, but I'll need to. And I would like something that cats do not really do. But I want it in here anyway. Just the barest hint. Okay. And I'm gonna do precisely no more explanation of that. Great. So on to... From our embarrassed, we're going on to the excited. Let's see. Going to stretch these up just a little bit more. And of course, fill in the eyebrow. You are actually not going to change a ton. I still want you looking essentially straightforward. And what's really going to change about this one is your mouth. I'm going to need to fix that mouth, but that is okay. Hello, Bagheeri. Nice to see you, my girl. Okay, we are going to need to do a little bit more. First of all, make those eye shines just a little bit bigger. And we're going to narrow the eyebrows even more. Okay, so eyebrow, you're going to get extended just a little more. That's going to be great. Need to change your mouth again. Actually, I've messed it up enough that I'd like to do it as a draft. Alright. Wrong color. There we go. Teethers. Tongue. And we should be ready to go. So now all I need to do, is this one right? Yep. So this one I'm going to fill with her predetermined mouth colors. So this is going to be her little tongue. These are her teethers. And this is the back of her mouth. And that should be everything we need. Yes. Okay. That is her excited. Now, sad time. Sad and angry. She has been through an awful lot in her life, so I'm going to bet her sad expressions are probably the most notable, we'll call it. The most very obvious. Let me see if I can do this. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Yeah, thank you. Good, good, good. And now I can take off the extra eye on top. Yeah. Not too much, though, because that is her bangs. Okay. Boom. I am happy to have you with me. Drawing with people is pretty consistently more fun. That from? Yeah, okay. That can also go away. Not that much, though. Oh, I should... Oh. Oopsie. That's okay. I'll steal it from Happy. Or, no, I won't. No, I won't. That's going to be fine. That's totally fine. Because I only erased it from there. So, I can still do this, right? Oh. Wrong ones. That would do it. I can still do this, right? Yeah, okay. So down here, I also need to fill in appropriate colors. Up here, I need to fill in appropriate colors. Which part? You? Okay, go away then. A dog and rabbit? Sounds delightful. I don't know how many other people do this, but I do fully make expressions while I'm trying to make my cat's expressions. Just to see how the face muscles scrunch up. Like, for instance, that was not it at all. Let's try again. And also from you. And then also from you. Yeah. Okay. Now, mouth. Tongue. No. Tongue. There we go. And mouth. Lovely. No. Realistically, I should edit the chin while making expressions, but, that would take much, much longer. And I'm trying to save myself a little bit of time when I do these. It is mostly for my own reference, more than anything else, and I do not generally find joy from the act of drawing alone. I was not an artist for my whole life because of that fact. And I generally in adulthood try to find ways for me to avoid drawing excessively, because it's not necessarily something I enjoy on its own merits. Okay. Yeah, Echo has been through a ton at this point. She's going to continue going through stuff. I have stuff planned for her. Cruel, cruel author. I'm not gonna kill her, if that's any comfort. At least I don't think so. Oh, come on. There we go. Alright, and now I just need to fill in you eyebrow. Good. Backstory for Echo is now essentially that she has, she was orphaned for whatever reason, we don't necessarily know, and she was taken in by a couple of foxes, parents, and a group of cats decided to kill those foxes because they felt threatened by the predators in their territory. Echo was forced to essentially become a traveler very, very young and go out on her own and learn the ways of the world. She met many cats and many other animals, including a dog pack, and plenty of cats as well. Generally speaking, she did not like the cats at this point, because they had a habit of, well, I think generally speaking, murdering one's family is a pretty strong reason to not like someone. Let's just go with that. But one day she will be meeting our crew, and I have some plans for her there when she meets the crew. But for now, as she meets them, she is rather suspicious. And not generally... very intelligent, but not as good at using her intelligence when she gets riled up or around people she has already decided to distrust. So, for instance, in this case, narrowing those eyes, widening the space around the pupils to make sure she is coming across as angry, extremely emotional. All right. And that, I believe... Oh, yes. So it is an original story. It is not set in Warriors or any other world. It is its own world, where Charmwork is the magic that flows through everything. It is completely unconnected to any other fiction, Warriors or otherwise. And apparently one of the characters in it will be Echo. So here is our final baby girl. We can now fill in the remaining slots here. Her name is Echo. Whoop. She has teal and purple eyes. And Fox parents were killed by cats, forcing her to become a traveler early. Met dog packs, other predators, and cats. There we go. I would also... Whoa! Oh, no. Bikiri. Sorry about that. I imagine you might have heard she bumped the mic over. Anyway. Yeah, the world building in this world really has nothing to do with Warriors. There are no clan groups at all. There are no clan-like groups. There's no such thing as a tribe. The world is much less focused on borders or boundaries or specific codes of honor, and more just on general cultures and the magic inherent to everyone everywhere. She is also guarded. And I am going to say, though, she's protective. Because she is. That is a very easy trait for her to have. Okay. Oh, I just moved Echo away to do that. I need to put Echo back. Echo. Yahoo! Alright, so that is her completed character sheet, and this is her completed profile. I'm going to actually move Echo's name over just the slightest bit so that it is more equidistant between everything. And there we go. So at this point, thank you everyone for coming along. If you wish to draw Echo or any other characters in Charmwork, feel free. You can send them to me in Discord if you are there, over email, or in any of the social medias. I will be posting this to the community tab as well as to Artfight on a request, and we will be going from there. You will see her in the story one day. Thank you all for joining me, and have a nice day. Have a nice weekend in general.